Hey everybody, welcome to another excellent episode of Wrestling Doesn't Make Sense. The first one of the new year. Hooray. We're all very excited about that. Woo! We're all very excited. We're going to talk about what we're going to try to do is we're going to try and make wrestling make some sense because we're going to try and book Wrestlemania before Wrestlemania happens. I think that's a really good idea because a lot of the time the hardcore booking for WrestleMania kind of starts about now, about the Royal Rumble, or the start of the year. You start to see storylines play out and things of that nature. So I thought, why don't we try to do that ourselves? Why don't we try and kind of book our own WrestleMania with what what the materials we've been given, the materials being wrestlers, I suppose. So we're going to try to do that. John has a list of matches. I have nothing, so this should be a really fun adventure. Do you want to do this, like starting at the bottom of the card, or should we start at the top and work our way down?
I think start at the top.
Okay, so let's go with the. Okay, well then, all right. I'm gonna put it to you this way. I was gonna say, what heavyweight title should we say is the main event, but I'm like, I've heard rumors that the main event in real life might be the for the women's championship.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, what is your main event?
It is for the Raw Women's Championship.
Excellent. Is it the suspected Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey escapade?
I've thrown in Charlotte into the mix as well. I think it's a weird situation because I think probably Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey is more of a money match because it's like a first time kind of singles match. But the way they've kind of kept Charlotte in the mix so heavily, like since Survivor Series, I think it's pretty much inevitable that she'll be involved as well. So, and not to, I think it's going to take away from the quality of the match because all three of those ladies can go. So, I think that's probably what they're going to go for this year.
Yeah, I would imagine so. So your main event is Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte,
Yeah.
in a straight up triple threat match.
Yeah. And it kind of has a bit of symmetry as well because, like, the Becky Lynch had a big title opportunity at SummerSlam, I think it was, where Charlotte was involved and she ended up winning the title in a triple threat match, also involving Carmella. And then Becky kind of got lost the title at TLC like a few weeks ago in another triple threat match, also involving Charlotte. So like this has kind of a bit of symmetry with those matches where Becky almost has to win really to kind of beat the ghost from the past or whatever.
To conquer her inability to win in a triple threat match.
Yes, exactly.
To really overcome the odds.
Yeah.
Do you have winners for this?
Oh God, no, I didn't go that far.
We're just talking about the hypothetical matches.
Yeah, yeah.
Who would?
Although, if I was booking this, I'd say I would go for Becky Lynch to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think that's what they're gonna do?
It's hard to say because they don't. It depends really what Ronda Rousey's plans are like post WrestleMania. Because I think she's only signed up for a year, and she's talked about wanting to like go off and have kids and stuff. So if she's not sticking around, then for sure Becky Lynch. But if she is sticking around, I don't know. We might have Ronda, capitalize on the fact that she's such a big name and kind of walk out the winner.
I think it would be a real shame if Ronda only did 1 year. Because I think she's so good at it, and I have heard her talking about how how hard it is to be on the road a lot. Like that's one thing that she's having trouble with, and she
Yeah.
wouldn't mind having a much more relaxed schedule. But I think that like another year isn't going to kill her, and another year would really legitimize her, because I think a lot of people are expecting her to come in, and were expecting her to come in and just do 1 year and go away again.
Mm.
And I think if she did 2 years and was still able to look good and maybe put a couple of people over, like if she was only doing 2 years, if she only stayed on for another year, because she could stay on for a long time and be very successful, make a lot of money. Like I would be very happy to see her sign on for longer than another year or two.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was going with this.
Yeah.
I totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, I wouldn't. I would like her to stick around a little bit longer, because I think that there is more money to be made there, and I think that she really is good enough to be able to pull that off. But like I wouldn't be surprised if she only stuck around for a year, but I would like her to stick around for a little bit longer. That's
Mm.
why I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled some kind of Brock Lesnar swerve and kept the belt on Ronda. Would not be
Yeah.
surprised about that at all. This is probably more talk for the legitimate WrestleMania podcast. We'll probably do, because, like you said, I imagine that to be either the main event or the semi-main event. It's going to be probably that triple threat match. So we can talk about that more then. Let me see. What would I make as my WrestleMania main event? Let's say we've got let's pick the women there. Let's keep the women in the main event.
Mm-hmm.
I would do just a straight Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch match, because I because I think that Becky's earned that kind of shot. To be honest with you, now I really like Charlotte. I think she is probably one of the best, just one of the best wrestlers in the company, male or female. She's very 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 good, but I fear that people are starting to get a little um uh I'm gonna say bored of seeing Charlotte on top a lot, because for the last couple of years Charlotte has been a mainstay in the main event scene
Oh yeah,
ever
and
since
she's
she
what, like
started.
a 7 or 8 time champion already.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's fair because she's that good, but also like she needs to step away for a little bit, because
Mm.
that always keeps things fresh. I mean, John Cena did it, and then people were like, "John Cena's the best," Well, all you got to do is take a step back, and then people don't worry about it too much. So I would put Charlotte on a different match, um, but I would have the main event be Becky versus Ronda, because I think that that's the best story they can tell. I understand the Charlotte being put into there, but like what I would do is have that kind of blow off at like the Royal Rumble, for example, or No Way Out, because then maybe have the triple threat then, and then have a straight one-on-one match at WrestleMania and have Charlotte occupied with something else, because
Mm.
Becky's been on such a roll. She's been doing such a good job of getting herself over and bringing attention to her and to women in wrestling in general, that I think that she has totally earned a one-on-one match with the champion at WrestleMania, and I think that that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Sweet.
So,
Although,
what would you go for in terms of like a Universal title match or WWE title match?
well, now here's what I would do. I feel like in real life, what they're gonna do is they're gonna keep the belt on Brock till WrestleMania,
Mm.
because that's just what they do. I mean, number one, that's what they do. They keep the belt on Brock. But number two, like, people would say, what's the point of a title switch between now and WrestleMania? But my argument to that is twofold. One, it's really boring because you know whatever fucking match Brock Lesnar is in between now and WrestleMania, he's walking out of it as champion, and that's boring. But second of all, I remember whenever titles would switch hands before WrestleMania, and it doesn't really happen a lot these days. But, like, for example, whenever Kurt Angle was on his original run, he was doing really well in late 2000, and then he lost the belt at No Way Out to The Rock.
Yeah.
Right before WrestleMania. And that was simply to set up Rock versus Austin. But, like, it also, you know, was a cool turn before No Way Out. Or before WrestleMania, I mean, because it happened No Way Out. Whereas, I think these days, you don't really see that kind of stuff anymore. So what I would do is pull some kind of shenanigans like that. Now, the trick is trying to figure out whether or not, like, because people are going to say Brock Lesnar draws money, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a big attraction, and therefore they would want to keep the belt on Brock to make him one of the main events at WrestleMania because he draws and he's big money. But again, my argument to that is, how many times in the last 5 years has Brock Lesnar been in the main event at WrestleMania? Because it's got to be a lot, right?
Yeah, between his matches with Roman Reigns and Undertaker, I'd say he's probably been in more main events at WrestleMania in the last few years than, well, aside from Roman Reigns.
Right, exactly. And people got sick of Roman Reigns. So I would imagine by now they're probably sick of Brock Lesnar, especially given the year he had in 2018, where he dominated pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
So I think by now, surely your money has been made with Brock Lesnar. You're not gonna make, like, you could just keep doing the same thing over and over again, but because that's what they've done. But that's boring, and wrestling is full of surprises and shocks and fun stuff like that. So I would have Strowman beat Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Because people wouldn't see it coming. And also because, God bless him, Strowman probably should have had that belt months ago. He should have won it.
Yeah, when Roman Reigns relinquished it.
Yeah, he should have won it. Because it's right there. You've got a guy who you know, who has been given a big push and so far has been able to handle himself pretty well with it. I think he's shown that he can handle that kind of responsibility. So I would give him a shot, and then have him beat Brock Lesnar, which is going to be huge, because Brock Lesnar has been built the way he's been built. That once Braun Strowman beats Brock Lesnar, people are like, shit, dude, we got to get a really big contender here. And so their trick there is to build a guy from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania who's going to be capable of matching Braun Strowman. And that is the tricky part, because Braun Strowman's a big, big guy. And, you know, sometimes it's hard for guys that big to get a good match with everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to say that it can't be done. Like, Undertaker is a big guy. He used to get good matches out of a lot of people. I'm not going to say everybody. Because I don't think him versus Giant Gonzalez was a great match, for example. But, you know, for the most part, he was pretty good about it. So I think, I mean, like, logically, if you look at the roster right now, and if you look at what I think they're going to do, logically, the main event at WrestleMania is going to be, well, if the hypothetical title changes hands at Royal Rumble to Braun Strowman, then I imagine the main event would be Strowman versus Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Rollins. Rollins.
Keep rolling.
Oh God, Seth Rollins. Like I imagine they're gunning for Rollins versus Brock this year in real life.
Yeah,
But
that's what I put down as my pick.
yeah, what I would do is I would have Braun Strowman versus Seth Rollins because, like I said, because Brock Lesnar has been in the main event for so long, we've seen Rollins wrestle Brock Lesnar before, right?
Mm.
And I think Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman haven't had a proper match, have they?
I think they have clashed at some points. When Braun briefly turned heel this year.
Yeah.
And was feuding against the Shield, but I can't think of any, like big singles match they've had though.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to roll with. I'm going to go with Braun Strowman as champion versus Seth Rollins. So there you go. You said you were going to go with Lesnar versus Rollins.
That's right. Yeah. Same sort of thinking with like them strapping the rocket to Seth Rollins by having him win the Royal Rumble, and then get like the big push as the main face of Monday Night Raw. But I'm falling into the exact trap that you were saying about how it's just a bit paint by numbers. Like every year, there isn't really any like surprising title change anymore before WrestleMania. So the champion kind of just there's no kind of drama about any of his title matches in the run up to WrestleMania. I think that's probably going to be the case this time around as well. So yeah, probably Brock kind of just he's probably only going to wrestle Braun Strowman before WrestleMania, and that's it.
Yeah,
knowing his schedule. But yeah, so I'm going to go with Brock and Seth Rollins for the Universal title. For the WWE title, though, I'm going a bit out of left field here and saying it's going to be Daniel Bryan versus Rey Mysterio.
Oh, okay. That was left field.
That's a match we've never actually seen before, as far as I can remember. And I don't think WWE can stretch the like Daniel Bryan AJ Styles feud to WrestleMania. And now that Daniel Bryan's a heel, and a very good heel at that,
he's so good.
I mean, he's amazing. It reminds me a bit of CM Punk. Like,
yes, that's what I was saying to my friend. He's doing the same angle that Punk did.
Yeah.
He's picking something that's true and, not a bad thing.
But just being obnoxious with it.
But just pushing it so far that everybody's like, don't you tell us how to live. And I'm like, it's beautiful. It's so, it's to coin a phrase, it's very organic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very appropriate. But Rey Mysterio is a good call because that would be a really good match.
And I figure they've got to do something big with Rey Mysterio as well, because like since he's been back full time, he's really quickly just become like one of the roster and not the special attraction he should be. So giving him like a push towards the world title, not only does it freshen up the world title scene, but you're kind of getting more bang for your buck with Rey Mysterio as well.
But also, it's a really good WrestleMania match.
Oh yeah, there's that for sure as well.
Like that is the thing that used to really bum me out because I used to watch WrestleMania sometimes, and I'm like, you'd see some of the matches on the card, and you're like, these aren't that special. This is supposed to be WrestleMania. It's supposed to be your big event, your one big shot.
Mm-hmm.
And God knows you phone it in on all of the other shows. So, like, sometimes you should make WrestleMania a big thing. And sometimes WrestleMania is a big thing. You get really good matches on it. And then sometimes you just get a load of shit, And you're like, what is any of this? Like, why don't you give us something? Like, they're always harping on about their fucking WrestleMania moments.
Yeah,
but I'm like, why not give us WrestleMania caliber matches? And I'm like, logically, I think Daniel Bryan versus Rey Mysterio is a very good WrestleMania like dream match. You know what I mean? Kind of
Oh, for
like,
sure.
well, like kind of like how Shinsuke versus AJ Styles was supposed to be like a fucking WrestleMania match,
Mm-hmm.
and then it wasn't quite as good as everybody wanted it to be. But then
No.
again, maybe that's because people got a little too hyped about it.
Well, I
They
don't
got
know,
too hyped.
because I think people. Well, there was like knowledge of the fact that they had their match in New Japan, which by all accounts was really good, and I think there was kind of deserved expectations for that.
Yep.
But then, for whatever reason, just in the WWE ring, it never really clicked between them. Like for that entire feud that they had, it wasn't bad wrestling by any means, but it was just it didn't really feel as great as it could have been, considering the talent of the two guys in the match.
I think it got better though, which is funny because you think the longer the feud goes on, the more it might get a bit stale. But
Mm.
I liked it the more it went on. There was what was the match that ended in the double DQ where they both kicked each other in the balls?
Oh, was that the one from the Saudi Arabia show?
Oh, I don't remember because I remember I liked that one,
Mm.
but I don't know if that was from the Saudi show. Anyway, the point is, sometimes these dream matches aren't as good as you think they're going to be, but I would imagine Daniel Bryan versus Rey Mysterio, that's going to be some fucking hardcore stuff right there. That's going to be really good. That's a good show, man. Would you have, well, I was going to, well, would you, in this hypothetical WrestleMania, would you have Rollins win the Rumble or Mysterio?
I'd go Rollins just because Rey Mysterio's kind of been there, done that. So he doesn't really need to do it again. Whereas I don't think Seth Rollins has won the Royal Rumble before. I'm pretty sure he hasn't.
Yeah, I don't think so. Um, okay, cool. Let me see. What would I do? I would keep the belt on Bryan because I think he's doing such a good job at the moment. Now, they were teasing a thing between Daniel Bryan and Mustafa Ali on SmackDown,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't get because he's in the middle of a run with AJ Styles.
Yeah, but I think it's more a case of just bringing Mustafa Ali in a big way. Because I don't know, do you watch 205 Live?
I used to. I don't really watch it too much anymore.
He's been fantastic ever since the show started. Like his matches are amazing. His promos are fantastic. He's pretty much like the complete package. So I'm really really glad to see that he's getting a bit of a push on SmackDown and like a chance to show what he can do in front of a bigger audience, because he's a guy who, take the size of him out of the equation, and he could be such a good hand to have, like in main events and whatnot. But whether or not that ends up, with him getting like a serious push towards like the world title is pretty doubtful. But just the fact that he's in that mix and given that opportunity right now is pretty awesome.
So it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility to actually see Daniel Bryan versus Mustafa Ali at WrestleMania. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, I still don't buy that though.
But it could happen. You've got 3 months to build it up.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, you know what I would have done? I would have had Nakamura in there, but he's a heel at the moment, and I like his heel stuff because I think he works better as a heel. So I'm gonna keep him in a different match for now. But I don't really know, like, who would be like a really good, surprising, fun match to have at WrestleMania. And I think that Mustafa Ali, of the stuff I've seen of him, has been pretty good. And like you said, wouldn't this be a really good way to kind of cap off showcasing him as a big deal?
Mm-hmm.
Because, he's going into this match and he's, in the way I'm booking it, he's not going to win. God bless him. He's not going to win at WrestleMania against Danny Bryan. But him, like, coming back after WrestleMania, if you see what he's done, he's kind of worked his way up. He's kept in the main events. He fucking wrestled for the belt at WrestleMania. That guy's like, now he's like a solid fucking upper mid carder. You know what I mean? Like he's safe. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do that just for fun.
Cool.
Also because it's not totally unbelievable. I mean, it's unlikely, but not unbelievable. So let's leave it at that. What else have we got? What about what's the next match you have?
So some, the kind of marquee matches they have that aren't necessarily for titles or whatever, but are just like, big name versus big name.
Yeah.
But this time, I've deliberately not picked Undertaker for any matches because I think, after his last few, he's kind of looking a bit rough these days and doesn't really need it. I haven't picked Triple H for any of these matches either because I figure he's probably not going to be recovered from his surgery he had after tearing his pectorals or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I haven't gone for Batista because he was rumored to be having a match with Triple H at WrestleMania. But I figure if he can't wrestle Triple H, he probably won't wrestle at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, long-winded answer, but I've gone for Braun Strowman versus John Cena as like one of these marquee matches. AJ Styles versus Randy Orton, and The Miz versus Shane McMahon.
Okay. No, I reckon that The Miz versus Shane McMahon is pretty likely.
Mm-hmm.
Given how they've been working stuff, I could totally do without seeing that match because Shane McMahon, I admire him for sticking around and getting his feet wet, but God bless him, he is no wrestler. He is Shane McMahon, and I don't want to see him kind of wrestle all the time and take up spots, especially at WrestleMania, because you don't need it. But I understand why they do it, so that's fair. What else did you have?
So I also had AJ Styles and Randy Orton, which I think on SmackDown this week, was it AJ pinning Randy Orton to win that Fatal 5-Way to get a title shot? And then they kind of did show camera stuff afterwards with Randy Orton sort of scowling at AJ Styles. So I think they might be kind of planting seeds for that one already.
Yeah.
And I don't think they've really wrestled each other since they've both been on SmackDown, which is really odd. I can't think of a single match they had together. So yeah, that would be a pretty fresh one. And the other one was Braun Strowman and John Cena, with John Cena in theory doing like the honors and putting Braun Strowman over.
In theory.
Well, he might think of it as like coming out of last year's WrestleMania where he lost to Undertaker in 3 minutes. He might be like, I gotta get like a WrestleMania moment back or something.
Does anybody really know what the fuck was up with that, by the way?
I assume it was just because, Undertaker's so broken down, they couldn't go any longer. That and the fact that the show was like already 8 hours long.
Yeah. That was stupid. That was. Alright. So let me see. Some marquee matches. I have one in my head, but I forgot it now. I was gonna do was gonna put Kurt Angle against somebody. Who was I gonna put Kurt Angle against?
Oh, actually, yeah, he could put him against Drew McIntyre. I thought
Kurt Angle versus Drew McIntyre.
because they had that match on Raw it's probably a couple of months ago now, where Drew dominated him, didn't he?
Oh, okay.
So Kurt hasn't really wrestled since then, and they were kind of selling it as him being on his way out, and so this could be him trying to come back for his redemption against the the young gun Drew McIntyre.
Okay, that could work. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do Kurt Angle versus Drew McIntyre. Because I think Kurt Angle, unlike a couple of his other peers at the time, can still go. You know, not to say that Triple H can't go, but he can't go right now. So that's UI. And Undertaker can't go. Let's just put. I mean, he's been going for too long. Retire the Undertaker, please. Like, if Undertaker is booked in a match this year at WrestleMania, I'm going to be really annoyed.
Yeah, I don't even know who they'd book him against, though.
Oh, they just book him against the fucking can of Pepsi or something. It doesn't matter, because Undertaker's going to win, and it's going to take him longer to get to the ring than it is going to take him to fucking wrestle a match. Ugh, god dang it, I don't want to see it. Undertaker is banned from my WrestleMania. He is not in it. So, yeah, let's go with Kurt Angle versus Drew McIntyre. That's a good angle. You know what else I was going to do? I was going to have Randy Orton against John Cena.
Oh.
Because we used to get sick of that match. There was a time whenever John Cena versus Randy Orton was not at all interesting. And I think that enough time has passed, and like you said, John Cena kind of seems like he's on his way out.
Definitely.
So, Randy Orton has always been a guy that, to me, seemed a little bit unhappy with the scheduling and stuff like that. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him stick around a little bit longer. He's still got a bit of mileage in him. But I wouldn't be surprised if John Cena kind of took a step back for now. So yeah, I would go with Randy Orton versus John Cena. Those are, at the moment, the only little marquee matches I have planned. But I'm sure if I come up with another one, I'll let you know. So now my WrestleMania is like a match down, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You've got 6 matches so far, and I have 5.
Yes. Yeah. Wait, I've got 7.
Wait, 3 title matches and 3 marquee matches?
4 marquee matches, including that Kurt Angle Drew McIntyre one now.
Oh, was that one of yours?
Well, I'm adding it to the list.
Okay, good, because I'm putting that on my list too. So you had nothing for Drew McIntyre before that?
No, I completely forgot about him.
Cool. All right. Bet he appreciates that. All right. What's the next one?
So now I'm getting into all the secondary titles. So US title, Intercontinental title. These are really tough ones to kind of predict, though. There's so much that can happen between now and WrestleMania. I wouldn't be surprised if either Rusev or Dean Ambrose loses their title before WrestleMania. But even saying that, I've gone for both of them in their respective title matches and put Rusev versus Samoa Joe, with the idea being this will be when Samoa Joe finally wins his first title on the main roster. And Dean Ambrose defending against Elias, just because Raw doesn't really seem to have many kind of open babyface slots in the mid card. And I think Dean Ambrose, being the heel that he is, could probably help elevate someone like Elias, and because he's still Elias is really new at being a face as well, and I'm not sure how much experience he has in that role. So working with someone like Dean Ambrose would hopefully, bring out the best of him and win, lose or draw. I think it'll be good for Elias just to have that kind of match and feud with Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, dude. People seem pretty high on this Elias guy. Me and my brother really watch like the pay-per-views more so than the actual shows. So I remember one time we were watching, and we were like, "Why is this guy suddenly super over?" We were just like, "Why does everybody like him now? What happened? Nothing happened. He stayed the same, and now everybody likes him." And I'm like, "Okay, fair enough. I mean, he's fine. I got no problem with him." Okay, Elias versus Dean Ambrose, and you did Rusev versus
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe. See, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Good old Hoss battle right there.
Yeah. See, what I would have done, well, what I'm going to do, for SmackDown, I think that's pretty easy, because I would have had Rusev versus Nakamura versus Samoa Joe.
In
a triple threat. I mean, potentially putting Rey Mysterio in there, make it a 4-way, because can't remember if I booked Rey Mysterio already. I don't think I have.
I thought, did you not put him against Daniel Bryan as well?
I went with Mustafa Ali.
Oh yeah, of course you did. Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Get this, man. Changing the plan. Kurt Angle versus Drew McIntyre. I'm gonna change that to Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio.
Ooh.
I know they're different brands, but boy, that's gonna be fun to watch. So that's a Wrestlemania match. There you go. Then I'm gonna keep the triple threat match: Rusev, Nakamura versus and Samoa Joe. And then I'm gonna have what do you call him? Drew McIntyre in the Intercontinental title match against Dean Ambrose.
So heel versus heel.
Well, I don't know which one of them's going to be heel by the end of it.
Okay.
I think Drew McIntyre is really good as a heel.
Yeah.
But I think he could probably pull off being one of those badass faces. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
I could see some kind of like turn where Ambrose drives McIntyre crazy, so crazy, that he ends up turning into a face by the end of the whole show.
But did you see Drew McIntyre's face run in NXT? Because that really wasn't anything to write home about, I thought.
You don't think so?
No, it didn't really feel like a natural role for him. I think he's way better suited as a heel.
Wait. I changed my mind. Changing it again. Take out Drew McIntyre. Stick with me, right? I'll find something else for Drew McIntyre. Don't worry about that. You're safe, Drew. You'll fight somebody. But Dean Ambrose versus Bobby Roode.
Oh, okay.
Intercontinental Championship. That's what I'm doing, because I think that would be a great match. I love both those guys. They're both two of my favorites. I would probably have what do you call them? Chad Gable and Bobby Roode drop the belts to the Revival as soon as possible. Whenever they're doing it, if it's fucking next week or if it's Royal Rumble, whatever the fuck, and have the belts on the Revival. Spoiler for a later match, but the belts will be on the Revival. Chad Gable can just onto the Giant Battle Royale for all I care, but Bobby Roode versus Dean Ambrose Intercontinental Championship, because then you got your face, you got your heel, you got two great workers. You're gonna get a good match. That's what I'm gonna.
Can't argue with that.
There you go. Sorry, Drew McIntyre. You can fight Chad Gable on the pre-show. Bingo! Everybody happy.
That would be a good match, though.
Yeah, I mean, Chad Gable's a hell of a worker, man.
He
I'm not
is. He's
knocking him there.
amazing. If he was like slightly taller, I think Vince would love him.
Yeah, exactly. A little bigger, it'd be sweet. But, he's still doing pretty well for himself, I think.
Yeah.
Wouldn't knock him too bad. All right. What's next on your list?
So next, I've gone for something which I think it definitely won't happen in real life, but I would love to see happen, and that is Pete Dunne defending the UK Championship against Finn Balor.
Oh, wow.
Now, how good would that match be?
Son of a gun. That would be really good.
But the thing is, well, there's like a few things which kind of don't work in favor of this match happening. Like, I'm pretty sure Pete Dunne's going to lose the UK title against Joe Coffey at NXT Takeover Blackpool next Saturday. Just because like it's the first live show that they've done for NXT in ages, and Pete Dunne's held the title for 500 and whatever days already.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to look to switch things up there. But if he does manage to retain the title, I do think like it would be awesome having Finn Balor be the one to take it from him. And then he could kind of not only defend it in NXT UK, but he could also still carry it around on Raw and give it like a bit more attention in a way. So I think it's a win-win situation if you did have that match, but it's probably not going to happen.
That's a really good idea, though. That's a real fucking fantasy booking right there. But tell you what, though, you've fucking given me a great idea. Drew McIntyre no longer on the pre-show. Now you're fighting Finn Balor, because I fucking totally forgot all about Finn Balor. But I would have, why not? Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor. Why? Who cares? Just make a fight. Trust them. Doesn't have to make sense. Okay. What have we got next?
So looking at the SmackDown Women's title, this kind of plays into another match as well. So I figured, like last year, there'd be like another Women's Battle Royal. But with this one, it would be a case of whoever wins the Battle Royal then goes on to face Asuka for the SmackDown Women's title later in the night.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be like open to anyone and everyone in the women's division, be they on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. And the winner would be Alexa Bliss of the Battle Royal. So even though she's on Raw, she ends up getting a shot at the SmackDown Women's title, and I figured she'd probably end up winning it as well.
Okay, interesting. Because I saved Charlotte from the main event, I had figured her into this match. I had figured it would be Asuka versus Charlotte, which I believe is a rematch from last year.
Yeah.
But also not the first time they've done that before. So, I think that's still a good match. That was a good match.
It was a hell of a match.
So I would not at all be opposed to seeing them do it again. So that's my pick for the SmackDown. What do you call it? Women's Championship.
Mm-hmm.
What else have we got?
Well, Vince just announced that there will be women's tag team titles this year as well.
Yes.
So I'm thinking we'll probably see like a tournament. Well, a tournament like on both Raw and SmackDown, which would hopefully see a bit of crossover on the two shows as well, and then hopefully culminate at WrestleMania.
Yes.
I think in that situation, like Bayley and Sasha Banks is pretty much locked on as a guaranteed, one of the teams in the match.
Yes.
But the other team.
Before you say this, a couple of matches ago, I was putting this same match together.
Okay.
I was I'm going to surprise John. I'm going to put a women's tag team title match on the show. You've already figured it out. But I'd already picked who I was going to have in the match, and two of the people in the match were Bailey and Sasha Banks. So before you reveal, I want to hear who you would have picked, and see if it matches up with what I was thinking too.
Well, this isn't necessarily who I want to see in the match, but it's who I think is going to be involved in the match. So, you got Bailey and Sasha Banks, and then they'd be going against Nia Jax and Tamina.
Okay, that was not what I was thinking. But
who are you thinking then?
They're both on Raw.
Yeah, this is why I was saying there'd be like a bit of, cross promotion on shows. So you'd have like just Raw and SmackDown people against each other.
Yeah, but I mean, both of those teams are on Raw. I would have had a Raw team versus a SmackDown team, and my SmackDown team would have been the Iconics.
That would be my preferred choice. But I think the way they've kind of booked Nia Jax and Tamina as well, like recently with their run-ins with Ronda Rousey, I think WWE are probably going to look at that and try and use that as kind of, I don't know, like inspiration to give them this big push towards the tag titles.
Oh no, I get it. Like, I get the idea that they want to push these guys as like the big, the kind of big tag team, like Authors of Pain, which I get, but I would keep that for after WrestleMania, for sure. I would definitely have them be like a key component of the tag team scene, but I think for the straight off the bat, like introducing the belts, that's the matchup I would do. The Iconics versus whatever the fuck Sasha Banks and Bailey are called.
But I don't think anyone would really take the Iconics seriously in that match, though. Like, give them any kind of serious shot of winning it.
I would have them win. Because nobody would see it coming.
Yeah.
And because the Iconics are like a really good duo, but like, really, how often do you see them wrestle?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's kind of like they're keeping it under wraps on purpose. You know what I mean? So that when they go into the match, Sasha and Bailey are very confident and they think we've got this, because who the fuck are these people? The Iconics come over, fucking turn out to be really. I mean, we know they're good, but like, it's storyline wise, they turn out to be way better than the other team expected them to, and so that way you've got a proper reason for Sasha Banks and Bailey to kind of implode. That they took their opponents too lightly. They weren't taking it seriously, and then they're like, maybe we're not good tag team partners. Whatever the fuck, then they have a feud, yada yada. I don't care. They feud at some point. But that's what I do. Yeah, and then like after the Iconics are the champions, there's no reason like Nia Jax and Tamina couldn't fucking beat them the next month, for example. But I think to start it off right, that's how I do it. But that's just me.
Interesting.
It is interesting. What's the next match you got?
I've gone for like a good old fashioned cruiserweight title multi-person ladder match.
Okay, cool.
Because I mean, how can you go wrong with something like that?
Yeah.
So with that, I've kind of included, the obvious names like Cedric Alexander, Buddy Murphy, Drew Gulak, Lio Rush, Mustafa Ali, like all the main names who've, been like the backbone of 205 Live over the last year or two. But you never know, because I think it was on this week's episode, Drake Maverick was saying about how there'd be new faces coming in soon and promising, change. So I have no idea who they might bring up from NXT or even from elsewhere for the division. So there could be some interesting times ahead for the cruiserweights.
What about this though? Wait, how many people were in your ladder match?
Uh, about 5 or 6.
Okay. What about this for a match? Right, straight one-on-one match. I'm not messing around with too many multi-man matches. I'm being pretty straight with this.
Mm-hmm.
What about Buddy Murphy, still the champion,
Yep.
versus, and I don't know how much he weighs, so I should probably double check this before I say it out loud, but Johnny Gargano.
Oh, I'm sure Johnny Gargano is a genuine cruiserweight. Let's have a look.
I mean, he looks kind of. He could drop down, right?
He is. Oh, that's no good. The weight 90 kilograms. What the fuck does that mean?
Oh god, 90.
199 pounds.
Oh,
so yeah.
Yes. All right, sweet. Johnny Gargano versus Buddy Murphy.
See, I'd be all over that.
I mean, like, doesn't make sense, but like, fuck it, why not, right? Wrestlemania.
Yeah.
Great match. That's what I do. I mean, like, there's a lot of guys on 205 that are really good that could be in that. Like, for example, like you said, like that multi-man match. But you know, I'm just gonna keep it straight.
Yeah, I don't blame you, because Buddy Murphy has been sort of like an unsung hero, like in the last year or so, just putting on amazing matches with like Cedric and Mustafa Ali, and just like, considering where he was, say, a year ago when he couldn't even get on NXT TV, and now he's king of the cruiserweights pretty much. He's come a long way, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's done pretty well for himself. Pretty well. Okay, what's the next one?
So kind of looking at the tag team titles now, which is another one which they're both really hard to kind of guess, because in terms of Raw, there really aren't any like tag teams that they've given like a proper push for. So like on the heel side, you've got teams that keep losing all the time, like the Revival, or even Authors of Pain, like recently have been made to look a bit of a joke. And then on the face side, you got like a lot of thrown together teams like Bobby Roode and Chad Gable and Heath Slater and Rhino and Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, like teams which, like, I don't know, they're not proper teams really. They're just two random guys thrown together. So for that one, I've just gone for the Revival versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, which is probably never going to happen, because the Revival will have won the titles by then. Well, probably within the next couple of weeks or so, and then probably lost them to another random team.
Yeah, some fucking bunch of mugs or something like that.
Yeah. And then for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, I just went for the old faithful of some combination of New Day, Usos, and The Bar, and probably like a fourth team as well. And it's like a bit of a toss-up between Sanity and Gallows and Anderson, but I figured Vince doesn't really seem to like Sanity at all, so I'll go for Gallows and Anderson as the fourth team.
Well, see, I was going to do... This was going to be where one of my multi-man matches comes in. I was going to do SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Would be like a 4-team kind of shenanigans thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I think the Raw one would just be a 1-on-1. Well, 2-on-2, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, here's what I want to do. Alright? It's going to sound crazy, but I'm doing it anyway. For the Raw tag team titles, I would have the Revival as champions against the New Day.
Ooh.
And I would have that because while Usos, The Bar, New Day have been great, we've also seen that all year.
Yeah.
and that needs some kind of shake-up. And I think that both the New Day and the Revival work brilliantly as teams. They're both great teams. And I think the New Day versus the Revival would be a really good classic, heel versus face, no nonsense, like kick-ass match.
Mm-hmm.
So for the SmackDown one, I would do Sanity versus Gallows and Anderson versus I guess Usos and the Bar.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty good match in itself.
So how would you get the New Day onto Raw then?
Just have them be there. Fuck them.
Just be like, yeah, fuck the brand split. We're on Raw now.
Well, it's not inconceivable that they could just, get bored of SmackDown and get drafted over themselves. It's going to draft themselves. That's a logical thing that happens. I don't really know how or why they go, but I think that that's a really good idea, just to shake things up. I was gonna do it with the Usos, but they're like still good as the kind of heely face, whatever it is they're doing. And I don't think that would have had the right dynamic against the Revival. Whereas I think the New Day would, because they're like super babyface.
Yeah.
And you can really make the Revival into like pure heels, I think that dynamic works like way better. So, yeah, I don't know how the New Day will arrive on Raw, but fuck it. Why not just have the Revival call them out and say there's no good tag teams on Raw. We want to fight the New Day
that makes sense.
Because they're a team and there's three of them, and we've had to deal with the bullshit of Lucha Underground fucking party or whatever the fuck that was. Whatever that Lucha House Rules. What the fuck is that all about?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It's so fucking stupid. So, like, why not just go, why don't we have, those three guys, but only two of them in a, proper tag team match? Let's do it. And then the New Day are like, fine, let's do it. And then they do it. That's my booking. It's pretty fucking good. Do we have any other matches?
I guess just like for me, it's just the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And I don't know who I'd have win that, but I know who I'd have kind of as the runner-up, and that's Kurt Hawkins.
Oh, so, okay.
Like tease that he's going to win it, and then pull the rug out from him, like right at the last second.
Nice. I would have Elias win that. Because he seems over, and why not give him something to do? Because I hadn't factored him into anything else, so like fucking put him in there and have him win, and he can sing a song about that.
Who won it last year? I can't even remember.
Was it? Oh, fuck! Did I even watch that match? When did Baron Corbin win?
I'm sure that was 2 years ago.
When did Braun Strowman win?
3 years ago?
Oh god. When did Cesaro win?
That was the first one, so 4 years ago.
Oh my goodness, I just looked it up. Do you want to know? Yeah, Cesaro was the first one, then the Big Show. Wait a minute. Did Braun Strowman not win it?
I could have sworn he did.
Well, okay. 2000.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it.
Yeah, Cesaro, Big Show, Baron Corbin, Mojo Rawley. Well, that was a good pick. That worked out really well. And Matt Hardy, for some reason, fucking alright. How strange.
Weird.
So that shows you exactly what they think about that Battle Royale. Not a whole lot. Yeah, fucking Elias can win that one. I don't care. Nobody else cares. So, is that all the matches you had?
Yeah, that's everything now.
I want to add one more marquee match, which is the Big Show versus somebody, because they always try to do this. Big Show versus the sumo guy, or the Big Show versus Shaquille O'Neal. It didn't happen, but might still happen. Who knows? I would have the
Big Show versus Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, exactly. The Big Show versus somebody, because you know what was weird? Whenever they did that storyline with the Big Show and Cody Rhodes, And Cody Rhodes was Intercontinental Champion, and he was hot. He was really, really on fire. And the Big Show was the Big Show. And then they had the Big Show beat Cody Rhodes for the Intercontinental title. And then they said, this is the Big Show's WrestleMania moment. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's had loads of WrestleMania moments. He's the one guy doing all this shit, having a sumo match and boxing with a boxing guy and trying to fight a professional basketball player. Like, the Big Show is the one doing this stuff. He's had loads of WrestleMania moments. What the... Just... What? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, I would have the Big Show. I don't know who he would fight. Conor McGregor. I would have the Big Show versus Conor McGregor.
Oh, Jesus. See, I was going to go for like Nigel Farage or something like that. Like some twat you want to see get battered.
I would love to see the Big Show punch Conor McGregor right in the fucking mouth. Just to shut him up for a bit. Also, Nigel Farage probably wouldn't want to be punched in the face. Although he might do it for money, you never know.
Yeah, I'm sure he would.
You pay that guy enough, he'll probably do it. You know what I mean? But I'd also rather not have Nigel Farage on my show.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm gonna have the Big Show versus Conor McGregor. But I'm gonna put that in the pre-show, just for fun. Is that the whole card? That's pretty good. That's like what? So. 15 matches.
Oh god, it's more than 15. Oh, it's almost like 20 matches, I think.
Wow.
That's
pretty good. That's pretty good. So that's a fair.
It fits in with like how they do WrestleMania this year. Well, like in the last few years, where it's just all, like, 20 hours long.
Way too long. Yeah. Sweet. I look forward to seeing how WrestleMania plays out. I'm going to write these suggestions down. I'm going to see if we get any of them right.
I'm not holding my breath.
Well, no. I would imagine not either, but you never know. I mean, if they did come out, this ended up being WrestleMania, or even if a lot of these matches happened, I'd be very happy, because they're kind of dream matches. So, yeah, I think we did pretty good. So now we got to wait a couple of months, and then we'll see how good WrestleMania turns out. I imagine it's going to be a tremendous disappointment, as usual. But we shall see. We shall see. Cool.
What's our next podcast going to be?
The next one, we're going to do one about the Royal Rumble.
Ah, yes, of course.
So the next one's going to be about the Royal Rumble. This one is about WrestleMania. So let's see how that turns out in a couple of months. And make sure you listen to this podcast and tell everybody that it's great. And make sure you listen to us sometime in the future to see if we got them all right. Okay, cool. Thanks for listening. Bye. That's a good way to end it, I think.